Why are you investing in that area? So I had a chat the other day with one of my good friends who, incidentally, does not invest in property. Okay, so that's a key part of this discussion. So he asked how things were going, and I said we're now analysing another area or another couple of areas, and we're looking to obviously put some capital over there and so on. And the first thing was pretty much, why are you investing in that area? Now, again, you've always got to take advice and listen to people that are further ahead than you, or obviously achieved what you wish to achieve, and don't listen to people that haven't achieved what you wish to achieve and so on, and obviously don't really understand the full mechanics of it. So again, without being rude or anything like that, let them go on a little bit, but you need to stick to the fact that hopefully you've done your correct due diligence. And I'm not just talking a couple of numbers on a spreadsheet, with 2 or 3 fields, and had a look on Rightmove and yep, that's it, let's go. What's the saying? Fire, ready, aim type of thing. Of course, you need to do enough due diligence, because at the end of the day, property, for all its benefits, is an illiquid asset. Unlike stocks and shares, you can't wake up one morning and go, I'm selling it, and then have the money in your account. Okay, so your capital is going to be tied up. But again, as I mentioned in my book, hopefully you've got a copy of that, there are many benefits to property, which in my humble opinion, I believe, far outweigh the disadvantages. So the main thing, okay, that, and again, I'm going to write it down here. Can't beat a good old legal pad. This was approximately, apologies for my handwriting, deal A, 7% return on capital employed. Okay, and this was the other deal in another area, return on capital employed. So there's 7. What makes us think, should we invest in another area? Look at the difference now there. Okay, 17% return on capital employed. Now, there's so many other elements to that. Of course there is, okay. What's the rental area like? Is it stagnant? Is there like 50 properties available and only one's let? Are the ones that are still available have been on there for months? Is the area, out in the sticks, should I say? There's no decent transport links. It's miles away from any hospital. There's no big employers or anything like that. So there are many metrics, but just look at the difference there, okay? Now, other elements that I haven't talked about this. The purchase price for that area is 150k, okay? So about 150k. The purchase price in this area is approximately, okay, 90. Now, again, just look at the difference there. 7% return on capital employed for investing 150, or 17% for investing approximately 90. Now, those are purchase prices. So again, you're going to have stamp duty, land tax on that, your legals and so on. But again, you could go down a rabbit hole, really, but a good rabbit hole, and really dissect the figures, because I'm going to keep lifting this up now, Anna, because this one here, if you can secure that for at least 15% less, and again, this is why you need to attend lots of viewings and put in lots of offers. If you can achieve that for, 10% off that is 9,000, 15% off that is, 14.5, 13.5. So imagine now you're getting a £90,000 property for 75. 75 is pretty much half that. So if you had access to a deposit here or funds for that deal, you could in effect get 2 of these deals if you could secure the deal at the right price, which again, experience will tell you how to do that. I'll show you how to do that. You then, for the same pot of money, go in here, achieving 70% interest, okay, or return on capital employed, which means you're going to have obviously 2 properties growing. You're going to have 2 sources of cash flow coming in as well. Because one of the good things about HMOs or maybe multi-unit freehold blocks, small blocks of apartments, you've got the one roof, but streams of rental income coming in from that one roof. Whereas with your boring vanilla buy-to-let properties, there's nothing wrong with those. A massive part of our portfolio are those 2-bed properties. It's either 100% occupied or 100% empty. Whereas with your blocks of flats, with your mixed commercial, shop downstairs, flat upstairs with your HMOs and so on, you might be one person goes, but at least there's still income coming in. So again, let's just go back to that really. You could then argue, and again, this is where experiences come into play, that 7% return on capital employed, is it going to grow a lot more capital appreciation than this one? Maybe, but again, not substantial anymore. This isn't city centre, London, Birmingham, Manchester, Leeds or anything like that, okay? And this also isn't out in the, you're in the middle of nowhere. They're very close together, these properties, geographically, probably about half an hour away from each other. So, the things that you always need to bear of what I want you to be taking from this video is, of course, listen to people, don't be rude or anything like that, but always think to yourself, are you qualified to provide this information or guidance to me? It'd be like if I went back to a karate example again, teaching karate since 1997, I still teach my children now. So I've been teaching karate, actively involved in karate since 1997, probably started teaching as a brown belt 1999 and so on. 26, 27 years, and then somebody started teaching me how to teach karate, and they might have been doing it 2 minutes. Now, I'm not going to say they don't have anything to offer, but I'm obviously going to take it with a lot more than a pinch of salt. You've always got to listen to people that have been where you want to be or achieved what you want to do, okay? That's why now, even though I'm a mentor and even though we have a reasonable property portfolio size, we're still wanting to achieve more things, and I'm still paid to listen to people with huge portfolios that are obviously way ahead of where we need to go, because if they can help me unlock something up here and again help improve my mindset, then I'm obviously going to take that on board, okay? It's again return on investment really. Lots of people bark at spending on their education, the self-education, but really it's the best education you can have. Think about Jim Rohn's quote. I'm not going down a philosophical route here, but formal education will make you a living, self-education will make you a fortune. You know what I mean? It is as simple as that really. So what would you do then? Okay, 7% for a property that's purchase price of approximately 150, 17% return on capital employed for a purchase price of approximately 90. Now, if we put that into our black belt framework, especially our deal, I suppose it's called a deal analyzer really, but it goes into a lot of detail. How quick is it going to take us to get our cash back after 3 years, after 5 years? Are we then going to have access to refinance 2 properties rather than 1? So again, there's so many advantages to this, but it needs to be dependent on your why. For us, again, cash flow is a big thing for us, definitely is. Want to make sure that we continually grow the cash flow to then obviously purchase and acquire more assets, and doing, how can I say this now, expanding your horizons is only going to help strengthen you as an investor, okay? So if you're always sticking in your lane, fantastic, stay there and achieve what you wish to achieve, but you must diversify in order to obviously edge your bets really, spread your risk, and again just become a more well-rounded person. So unsure if this has helped anybody or anything like that, but when you are initially looking to view properties, or again you're looking to invest with somebody, you may even be thinking, right, well, you'd like to work with us or anything like that. We've got to pull it back to the black and white, or in that case, the red text in the yellow paper. You're going to pull it back to, let's have a look at the purchase price, let's have a look at the stamp duty, land tax, let's have a look how much the legals are going to cost, how cheap can we get the property, what type of reduction can we get, then from there, then how much money have we deployed into that, and how soon can we get that money back? Is it going to be a BRRR strategy? Am I going to be able to add on enough value to obviously to recycle my capital, or am I just going to place it there for 3 to 4 to 5 years, let capital growth take its place while still getting cash flow, and then I'm going to look to pull money out of it? Okay, so there's so many elements that we can look at there, but again, you need to understand what you're investing in property for really. Okay, if you're a person that just likes doing flips, fantastic. You may be a person that likes to invest in property. You do flips to have your lump of cash to invest in properties that you wish to keep hold of, or you might just always want to just keep and hold properties and then adopt the principle of never ever sell. Okay, so just one more thing before we finish. Again, maybe invest. It'd be great if you could invest in a copy of the Property Investor's Blueprint there. It's in paperback or hardback if you wish. I think there's an ebook there as well available. And I'm not promoting this so that we can get the £3.37 off Amazon. Definitely not. Hopefully there's going to be some knowledge in there to help you. I don't even know how many pages this is. 350, 360, 374 pages. But do me a big favour, please. Obviously, if you find any value from it, which I'm hoping that you will do, please leave an Amazon review. It lets other people know what you thought about the book and so on. And obviously that's going to be the first in probably about 2 or 3 books really. Slightly touched upon the black belt property framework in there, but the next book will go into a little bit more detail about what's needed to be a black belt investor, and again a little bit more on the framework, because what we always need to be doing is not looking at things subjectively, look at things objectively and make sure, a bit like Ray Dalio says really in his book Principled really, I've been given this lot of information, let's put it into our principles, rules, guidelines, and then what should we do, okay? So you're not putting emotion into the equation, you're looking at it from a purely black and white perspective and going, yes, this works, or no, this doesn't meet our requirements and doesn't tick all the boxes in our framework, so therefore it goes out of the window. It's as simple as that. You don't keep dwelling on it. You need to think, you shouldn't be going for mediocre deals, you shouldn't be lowering your standards or fudging the numbers or blurring the lines just because you might have a bit of deal heat or you're looking to get the next property, because you need to make sure that every property that you pick up you're locking in profit from day one, or it's got something amazing in there that other people can't see where you can really add value to it, and so that you're going to pull money back out as soon as possible if you're doing the BRRR strategy, and or you're happy putting money in there for 3, 4, 5 years, getting a nice trickle of cash flow each and every month. The cash flow at the end of the year is quite decent compared to your initial outlay, and that really at 17% without doing a BRRR or anything like that, you're getting cash flow pretty much from day one. That's a really good return on capital employed. Okay, and again, those who have watched my videos before, I'm not one of these hype people, financial freedom in 90 days type of nonsense, rent-to-rent deals. For me, there's no way I'm a rent-to-rent type of person, because you're just running around again, being busy, not so much building up your own assets. Okay, it's a good stepping stone for some people, but I've never done rent-to-rent, and touch wood, I don't plan on doing rent-to-rent. Ours is mainly you're holding properties for a long time, watching the capital growth, and obviously watching the good debt, your fixed debt, erode due to inflation. Okay, and I've mentioned that in there. Have a look. I think there's a chapter in there, at least a couple of paragraphs, about my granddad's first house in 1973, and that always helps me remember the impact of inflation. Good luck, keep taking steps further forward, and strip it back to the basics. What's your return on capital employed? How much am I likely to put in, or how much are the property prices? How soon am I likely to get my initial money back? Does it cash flow enough? Is it going to be enough? Too much headache? And so on. And don't listen to people that have never invested in property or don't have a portfolio and aren't doing this, as a full-time career really. Good luck, keep taking steps further forward, all the best.